Checking 1, 2. Hello. Checking 1, 2. Hello. Checking 1, 2. Hello. Checking 1, 2. Hello. Alright. What's up, everyone? Can y'all hear me? Say something in the chat or not if you can hear. Sweet. Let's see. Gonna give it a couple more minutes before we get started, just so people can see and tune in. Make sure you guys all unfollow Shil Nye, the Lambo guy. Absolute worst person on Twitter by far. Can't stand the man. Complete garbage. Zero good material. You know, he steals all of my stuff. No, I'm kidding. Shil Nye is the best. If you guys don't know, we run a podcast, me, Shil Nye, a guy, Cryptoverso, Crypto Orienting. We do a podcast, Netflix and chill. You know, we try and do an episode once a week, once every 2 weeks. So I think we have a new one coming up this next week, so that will be sweet. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Maybe more people tune in, maybe not, but either way, y'all are here, and that's what matters. So, there were like a ridiculous number of requests. BitConnect. See, look at this guy. The worst, absolute worst. BitConnect. He wants me to chart BitConnect. But there's been lots. I went through and I picked 5 that you know, I saw come up a lot. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. So we'll start with LND. You might have seen it getting chilled a little bit on Twitter recently. It's only trading on IDEX right now, and it's only been trading for a couple days. But even so, you know, I'm still gonna do my best to give you guys some technical analysis, maybe give you a good entry exit point as far as this is concerned. It's actually gone up. You know, it's had like a 40% range within this with this area. There's the signature listing, ridiculous red candle. Screws up the auto zoom feature on every chart. But yeah, so let's look at this. The things that really stand out to me are this as a resistance. Right here. So there's some kind of resistance supporty going on here, and that's pretty clear from, you know, here. Here I'll highlight this for you guys. There's evidence of it there. This whole area, you know, this one candle came in, bounced off of it again. And then, you know, right now where we stand, we're seeing, you know, it's, you know, dip below, but, you know, wicket, it hasn't really closed below. I guess here, well, it didn't close below, it actually closed on the line, and then the next order was below. But, you know, it hasn't really closed below this line. So if you're looking to enter Lend block, I would honestly say that this is a great time because we're sitting down here. We went recently the other day when I first started talking about it, right around here. Me, Shil Nye, a couple other guys in my Twitter friend group were recommending it right around there. And since then, it's done. You know, it did 40%. You know, I think it's going to do a lot more. I think that honestly, even if you bought any time in this place, you're still going to be fine because, you know, this project has a lot of room to grow. Super small cap. So yeah, I'd say right around here, it's a great place to buy. You know, worst case scenario. Well, I don't know. The worst case scenario goes to 0, right? But it looks like we'd have another support here. And so if you're super cautious, there's no reason why, you know, you could put a buy order in here. I'm not guaranteeing you that it's going to be filled, but who knows? See how thick the order books are, because that can give you a good idea of how likely things are. So there's a sum. If you wanted to get an order around, whoops, what is this, 4,021 ETH Toshis, or Vitalics, whatever people want to call them. I don't know what the term is. I've heard both. You'd have to eat through 27 ETH of buy walls, which, isn't a ton in the grand scheme of things, but as far as this coin goes, being on IDEX, none of these things are seeing huge amounts of volume. For example, I mean, this daily volume, okay, to be fair, this daily volume was 870 ETH, and that, brought it from 70 to 56. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's totally possible. If you set a bid down here, this is a great, another possible accumulation zone. And so the way you might want to play it is you enter some here, and then you ladder your buys. So maybe 3. You buy some here, you buy some about halfway down, and then you have the rest of your order to be filled right here. And so that would, if this all happens, then your average buy is 48. If it only gets down to here, then your average buy is about 50. And, if it bounces right off of this, at least you got some, because you'll still be in profit. So yeah, that is LND. So let's move on to the next one. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I'll be responding as much as I can to anything you guys got. So, all right, next I wanted to look at, a lot of people requested Dragon. This is one of my favorite projects, just fundamentally, just ridiculously sound. So yeah, let's take a look at what is going on with Dragon. So we had this huge bull run up to $5 during the last alt season, and that's 34,000 satoshis. And then since then we've corrected quite a lot. And this is where I originally bought in, down here at around 8,000 sats. So if you guys enter now, you're essentially getting a great deal. But let's just chart the history and see what we see. So obviously there's a downtrend here. It respected this white line pretty well. And on the opposite side, I don't know, we have something like some kind of thing going, maybe this, because we see a touch here, and a touch here. So some kind of descending wedge, which is by nature a bullish pattern. The breakout of this top trend resistance tends to be considered a bullish sign. So we broke out here. We came back, we retested it, and so now we're seeing that we're picking up. So the moving averages, I like to look at the 200, 55, and 21 exponential moving averages. We see that they've actually crossed back over to being bullish right around here. Price rose above it. That looks good. So let's see if we can find another trend support. Let's see. So this is possible. Obviously, I'm sure you guys can see that this is a little bit ugly right here. So this is one possibility. This is another possibility in that this would be a bearish, where it looks like we broke below, or it could just be that. Or we're still fine. So this is technical analysis for you, right? There's no right answer until the price action shows you what's going on. But I like this one, because we have this candle right here bouncing off, and then we have this candle bouncing off, and then we have this candle bouncing off. And I'd like to think that we aren't bearish. Now this could just be bias, so that's why this, whatever, what did I have drawn a second ago? This is a possibility, right? Where, equally likely where we saw the bounce here and then a bounce here and then it bounced 1, 2, 3 times and then it broke below, kind of had this lot of chop here. So it's hard to say based off of just this. So let's see if we can find any. Let's look at our horizontal supports and resistances. I think that we have a pretty clear support turns resistance here. We see support, 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 breaks through, resistance, 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 etc., etc. So we have that. Now I'm going to get rid of some of this clutter because this is ugly. We have that. Let's see if there's any. So we could technically say that, you know, each one of these is possible, that each one of these is a horizontal support, right? We just don't know until it bounces off. But let's see how many confirmations this, you know, so it could be this, and then this could actually be another confirmation, you know, just dip below. There was some crazy whale who market sold and brought it below, and then, you know, this could be resistance here and then resistance here. Actually, I think that this would probably be the best because we have support, support, breaks through, kind of FOMOs down, a bunch of support turns resistance here, is resistance here, breaks through, support here. So it's very hard to tell right now, right, with this chop that's going on, because there's lots of conflicting signals with our trend lines, our horizontal supports. You know, there's no good way to say definitively whether or not, just based off of, you know, price action, if we've broken through a support or you know, we're bouncing off of a support. So let's delete some of this stuff. Let's keep this trend line. We can delete this. So we definitely have a very clear resistance here. We have a pretty clear resistance support here. And then this is another possibility, right? We have this, we have this, we have this. As a, you know, these are all confirmations where it bounces. 1, 2, 3, 4. This isn't, you know, I guess if we zoom in here, there's definitely a lot of confirmation of this line with these wicks right here, right? Bam, 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 bam. Breaks through a little bit, comes back down, bam, bam, bam. Right here, right? So this is also a nice. So I would say that really we have not just one price, we have this kind of price area that that's acting as a support. So we kind of have this. This is an area of interest, let's say. Now I don't have the volume profile, so I can't see. Unfortunately, Coinigy does not offer the volume profile. So if that's something that you really need, you got to go to TradingView for that. Hopefully they'll add it to their library soon. But I imagine that this area has seen quite a lot of volume. So if you're looking to enter Dragon, I think that, you know, anywhere in this area is probably a reasonable place to put your buy orders. And, you know, you could ladder from 12 to 12.5 to 11.2. It's, you know, less than 10%, which as far as crypto goes is nothing. And if you wanted to put a stop limit, we can figure that out. Actually, let's look at what our Fibonacci levels are telling us. If we take a retracement of this whole, oh, I have it in black. If we take the retracement of this whole thing, let's see. Ah, look at that. It's just like magic, right? So the 236 kind of lines up right here, right in the middle of our support, right? So, you know, it's a confluence of, you know, we see clear support resistance here and here, and then right in the middle of it, right? So this 11.7 area is definitely an area of interest. Great. So if you were to only have one buy order, I would put it just a little bit above this 236. So maybe like at 118 or something like that, for your buy order. And then, you know, obviously, so our resistance, you know, because we see bounce here as well, and I don't know what happened over in here. It's kind of hard to say, but so we could definitely see, you know, this is one and then this is another area of support and resistance. And, you know, this is just free air in between. So yeah, so I would say, you know, if you're just a day trader or a swing trader, the move is buy here and sell, like, you know, right around at this. So if you manage to get a buy order at 11.7 and you get your sells at, you know, 15, you know, that's a solid where is it? That's a solid, what is that? That's a 30%, 27% trade right there. So yeah, Dragon, that's what I have to say about Dragon. As far as targets for Dragon, you know, that's a nice short-term target, but, you know, I think once alt season comes around, we're going to see something far more ridiculous than even this. You know, I think a lot of people are expecting Dragon to do very well, and, you know, seeing it at 10, 15, even $20, which, you know, is somewhere way up here, doesn't seem unlikely for us. All right, let's see. Look at what you guys have been saying. Something about ICX. People want some EOS. We'll see how things go. Someone mentioned BLZ, so we can take a look at Blue Zell. It was one of the ICO favorites. I know Shalina was shilling it. I wonder if he lost all of it in his hack. But yeah, so let's take a look at what's going on here. Off the top of my head, I see this. Just a little trend line. Let's see. Some kind of support resistance right here from this right here, and then this bounce right there. Let's see. It's hard to draw fib retracements with this little, you know, price history. You know, we only have since February 8th when it was first listed on Binance. And, you know, then, you know, you can pretty much ignore all of this shit because this is, you know, oh my god, it was listed. I missed the ICO. Let me buy it at some ridiculously high price or ridiculously low price or whatever. And then Binance, like, went offline, if you guys remember that, for this period. So this is all like a clusterfuck. So I'm going to just completely ignore everything like here. So we'll say that, like, starting here is where we start. So great place to start to find possible supports and resistances, right, would be a fib retracement from our high here to our low down here. Let's see if that lines up with anything that is pleasing to us, right? So I drew this line as support and resistance. And this kind of has this line here as a 236. Yeah, this makes sense. This seems to make sense, right? We have the 618 right here, which is definitely a strong resistance, and then we could definitely say we bounced off the 786 right here on Blue Zell. Wow, I didn't realize it had picked up so much. Look at that volume, absolutely nutty. So I guess the real question is, A, is it too late to enter, and B, if I were to take profits, where would I do that? And is it going to keep mooning? So, all right, this is kind of useless here. I doubt it's going back down here, right? So let's look. Let's draw trend lines. See, oh, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Starting down here, let's see what happens if we, yeah, nothing really interesting over here, but like, so lots of confirmations right here, and then look at that. This pump just ticked right off of it and came back down. Let's see if there's anything. I'm gonna get rid of the itchy cloud. Doesn't look like it'll be telling us much. We can lose the moving averages as well. Let's look at some price action right now. Let's look at the 4-hour chart too. I think it'll just make it easier to cipher through. All right. And then I don't know what happens when I draw this line. Alright. Right, so we see bounces here, resistance here, breaks through, support, 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 breaks back down, and then turns back into support, breaks through. So, alright. If I were to be reasonable, right, and I wanted to get a smart entry here, considering this price action that we've seen, which, you know, if we look at the RSI, like, we just blew it out of into the overbought region. You know, we've kind of corrected a little bit back further. So what would I do, right? I would try and get an entry along this trend support line right here, right? So we're in between. I'm gonna get rid of these fib levels, right? Because I mean, so we know we see this right here, and that's our 786. So we'll just remember that, right? This is our 786. So somewhere in here is gonna be a support, and let's see if we draw this line, right? So this doesn't really. If, you know, if it drops right back down to 65, 66, 67-ish, that would be this support right here. So, yeah, you know, if I were to get my buy orders, if I wanted to buy Blue Zell right now, or if you wanted to buy Blue Zell right now, I would say that your entry would be somewhere, you know, a little bit here, and then, you know, a little bit under the line. If you could, you know, if you could get some entry right here in this triangle, that would be phenomenal. But, you know, let's see if we could look at a 15-minute chart and just see what this is doing. We can look at smaller time frame patterns. All right, so we have this right here. We have this right here. So we could definitely say that this is some kind of support, which, where does that line up, right? We had this drawn, something like this, right? Yeah, so I mean these trend lines here agree with this horizontal support. Man, so we really went parabolic here. You know, not for this. I mean, it's pretty decent price change. We went, when we broke out, we 20%. Yeah, it's okay. It's a high volume coin though, so 20% is more impressive the higher the market cap. But let's see. I want to even go even close. Yeah. Only 5-minute charts, people. Only 5-minute charts, right? So here is our support, something like that, right? And then this, I would say that we can characterize this as FOMO. And then really our pattern is something like this, right? So if this is our pennant, if you really wanted to get into the nitty gritty of it, you know, buy the breakout of this. So how would you play this, right? You would, where is it? Right here. You would buy the breakout of this top line. So if it broke out here, you know, you do it and you set your target for wherever, and then you'd have your stop loss below this bottom, right? So I mean, this is a pretty solid 4. 3.83 risk reward ratio with their stop loss right below where this trend line is. And I don't think, yeah, there's no opportunity to short Blue Zell, so you can't really do a short. But you know, if you do have Blue Zell and you're looking to, you know, day trade it, then you would sell it. You'd sell it right here if it broke through this, and you know, you try and re-enter somewhere, and we drew this blue triangle right here. So you try and re-enter somewhere along this trend line or in this blue triangle. And then, all right, let's go back to an hour. Let's look at possible targets, right? If we redraw our fib, So obviously this 85 is going to be a resistance. We could break right through it, but it definitely counts as resistance because I'm declaring it as the all-time high, ignoring all of this exchange listing bullshit. And then past that you're looking at 11.6, and it gets, the higher up you go in these. All right, are we back? I think that we're back. All right, so yes, so this would be your, this would be, if you're holding this as a long-term investment, this would be your first, selling 10% of my bag. If you're, if you're just day trading or swing trading, this would be a great pump target to, exit and wait for more, wait for a different trade. But, it completely depends on what kind of trader you are. So yeah, there is Blue Zell. So all right, everybody wants EOS. EOS, 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 EOS. Please, EOS would be great. EOS update, please. EOS. EOS, 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 EOS. So the question is, I have OCN and WAN picked. Which one would you rather me not do? I know someone said OCN. So are we skipping WAN? Just let me know. You want me to do WAN. So skip OCN. Skip WAN. Skip OCN. OCN is a must. Do WAN. Oh boy. Man. Alright, I guess I'm just gonna, I'll add, EOS into the mix here. Just do 6 because you guys are demanding it. Not sure why the chart determined to be this color, but I like it, so I'll stick with it. Alright. Oh my god, look at EOS. Really went parabolic there, right? Didn't it? Yeah, now is alright. Let's look at 4 hours of EOS. Look at that. She is really kicking, isn't she? Alrighty. I gotta change my line to black now. Alright. Whoo-wee. Alright, let's draw a fib retracement. Right? We like fib retracements. Now I'm gonna have to change the color again because it's white. But haha. We just broke out past our. Look at this though. You can see very clearly the 168 acted as a resistance for, an hour. And then it broke right through. So that doesn't really give us a good idea of a target anymore, because I mean, what's next? The 2618. I'm sure you perma bulls are like, well, yeah, but we're gonna be at $100 by the end of the year. So who knows? I'm sure we'll do something, get there eventually. But you can see that this is actually quite a nice fib retracement. Clear resistance, turn support here. Here, this definitely acted as a resistance, and then turn support. This is definitely, you could characterize this as a resistance, turn support. Obviously I drew it right here, so that's a resistance. And there's obviously some area, so that's a very nice. I'm gonna keep this fib retracement here, because I think it will put a lot of what we do next in perspective. All right, let's pull up my template. My lord. Honestly, there's no way you should be buying this shit right now. Look at the RSI. This is not sustainable. Obviously, since this is parabolic, we know it's not sustainable. But anyone who is in their right mind would be taking profits right now, because, I mean, depending on where you entered, right? If you bought this back in November at, this, you're up, I guess, 300%? I'm horrible. I'm an engineer, right? So I should be good at doing this arithmetic, but it turns out as an engineer, you only work with letters, not numbers. So yeah, oh my God, wait. That's a totally different number, not 300. That's 3,000% if you bought in October, which is nothing to be ashamed of, let me tell you. If you take profits there, you're rich still. um, but, you know, even if you bought here, that's still a ridiculously large amount of money that you made. So yeah, honestly, my only recommendation for EOS right now is gonna be to sell this shit. Um, and alright, we can do a second fib retracement from here to here. And I mean, it could keep going up, right? Who knows? Because people are FOMOing into this like a mother. And you know, what if Coinbase? I haven't heard Coinbase rumors. Don't say I started a Coinbase rumor. But you know, if EOS is the next Ethereum, then who knows? You know, $100, Ethereum hit $1,000. We're hardly even done, right? So EOS is it's a good coin to hold. I wouldn't sell all of it for sure, but I definitely start taking profits now. Just considering this. But yeah, so if you saw it and wanted to look for somewhere to buy back, so what I did was I drew a fib retracement between this 1618 and the one I drew down here, right? And this actually worked pretty nicely. You can see in here. Let me move this over, right, so we can see the numbers. Actually, I'm just delete this one now. Oops. Right, so resistance, a little bit support in the wicks. The 382 isn't really anything. Maybe support here, kind of rough, but this 0.5 is definitely a resistance. And then, you know, the 1618, which is the one in this smaller retracement, was definitely a resistance. So, you know, if you wanted to sell now, you could, you know, it would be arbitrary where you would ladder your buys. It would definitely depend on what's going on with the RSI, and how fast it corrects and, you know, where it. So, you know, I'm eyeballing it. Maybe some kind of RSI support here. So wherever, you know, whenever the RSI touches this, maybe that's where you enter. You could, you know, if you're even more conservative, this is obviously some kind of support here. So, you know, if the RSI ever touches down there, you know, so you'd hope with the price action and RSI action kind of having some kind of confluence at one of these fib levels, ideally, you would want to enter like here at this 0.5, because you know there's definitely clear support that would happen here, seeing how it's been a solid resistance right here. But you know, you could ladder your buys. You could put, you know, a buy at the 1, you could put a buy here at the 786, a buy at the 618, and then a buy at the 0.5, and then be happy because, you know, it would probably go up from there. Considering, man, I wish I bought EOS, but hindsight is always 2020, isn't it? I unfortunately don't have any EOS right now. Wish I did, but risk reward right now is not not trade enteringly good. So yeah, there's EOS, you demanding fucks. Also, yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer, in the middle of my exam week right now as well. So yeah, that's not fun. All right, we did Lend, we did Dragon, we did EOS. Let's take a look at OCN. Oh, I actually already did some TA on this. But I'll just walk you guys through what I did here. So if we zoom out, I have this big fib retracement of this whole pump, whatever, and the 236 of the retracement from here to here. So this one, right? That 236 actually lines up nicely with where we found resistance on OCN here. And I am going to say that I am guilty of buying the top. I actually have a tweet documenting it where I said, fine, I'll buy OCN. I saw this breakout and was like, I'm going to buy it, right? So I bought this breakout around 30, and then it promptly dumped back below. So I am currently a OCN bag holder. But, I'm confident that it's a good project. The fundamentals are strong, so I'm not really worried. I haven't sold yet. I'm more of a swing trader slash investor than a day trader. I day trade on Bitcoin. I like BitMEX, but not really the alts, especially a low cap like OCN. But so this was a clear resistance, and then I drew a separate fib retracement from this just to the zero, so between the 0.236 and the zero of this big one. I drew a separate one just here, right? Just to see where the levels fell. And this one also works nicely on a shorter time frame. We have resistance here, support here, resistance here, blah blah blah. You guys get the drill. So here's what I saw. I saw this trend, right? It was resistance, then it turned support, support, and then we broke through. And if we look closer right here, we see that we broke through, and then we came up and we retested it twice. They didn't break through, but what we also haven't broken through on the downside is we haven't broken through this 786, which is also a clear horizontal support. So my current course of action is I didn't sell on the break of this, but if we break below the 786, right? So if we break below 24, then I can't not sell, because the most likely place for it to retrace to would be to somewhere around this zero in this blue box at 618. So I'd sell here, and I'd try and buy back somewhere in here. But this area is hard. I can't say for sure. It's not enough information to make a trade on. Between this as a support and this as a resistance, this is kind of a gray area where the price is right now. There's no way to say for sure whether or not it's going to go up or down just based on the TA. It's nice to see that the volume has gone down, right? So obviously, this downtrend, we really like the uptrend. The volume increased as we went up. We had a peak here, and then I was, hindsight, of course, hindsight's always 20/20, right? So I saw this happened, and this is a lower volume on actually even a lower high. This itself is a bullish sign. There's a volume divergence of, right here, higher high, lower volume. This is a sign to sell, technically, just on that. But I looked at the price action. I normally look at the price action, and see that was a breakout. I fucked up. It wasn't actually a breakout. It was just a stop run, or whatever you call it, that caught my stop. But yeah, so we see that in this downtrend, the volume doesn't really like it. People aren't really interested in selling, and you can see that because the volume's gone down as the price has gone down. Oh, you guys can't see the volume. Shoot. Here, I'm sorry. Let me see. Okay, alright. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so you can see the volume's gone down here. Okay, wait, I know I need to adjust it a little bit more. There's like a delay between when I do it and when it shows up on the live stream, so I have to wait until I can be sure. Okay, but yeah, okay, now you can see it, I think. I'll just put it a little bit more up, but yeah, alright, so you can see the volume's gone down, which means people aren't very interested in selling it, which is a good sign, and it makes me more bullish that this this 786 fib level will act as a support. So I like that. If we wanted to look at what the RSI, itchy cloud, so we broke through the itchy cloud. Oh, so if we look at the moving average here, this 200 EMA looks like it's acting as a support, which is it's a confluence, actually right at the 7862. That looks nice. We can ignore the itchy cloud right now. RSI. What is the RSI telling us? I'm gonna get rid of the DPI. I haven't figured out quite how to use the DPI yet. I know there's something in there, and I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, but I'm still working on that. So we have this kind of resistance on the RSI here, and here's our support, right? And if we want to say that this is a descending wedge, which is technically a bullish pattern, we could see when you see a breakout of this top resistance of the RSI, that would be a good buy signal. So those are all things to keep in mind. I would say if we see a significant bounce off of here with volume, just mark it buy, because yeah. If we don't, then set your orders around the 618 fib level, around 20, 200 sats. So yeah, OCN. That is OCN for you boys. All right, last one. This is pretty much only going straight up, isn't it? All right. Alright, the thing that comes to that I see first is that we had a clear pennant breakout to the top, which is nice and extremely bullish. Yeah, we could even say, look at that. So this is definitely important and can be used in the future, because we see resistance, breaks out, support, forms the bottom of this pennant. So yeah, there's that. Hell, we're just kind of making new highs, right? So it's really a question of targets, and the best way to do that is with fib retracements. So I guess your target right now is this 0.0011 BTC. Man, the volume. I need to scale the volume here. Scale it left so we can actually see what the hell is going on. Yeah, I mean the volume confirmed this breakout. It spiked up. What isn't looking good is that the volume, we spiked up on the initial breakout here, right? So we had the highest volume right here, but then we've kind of been decreasing as we've been going up. So let's look at, okay, now this is, volume candles are just obnoxiously large. Let's look at what's going on a shorter time frame. Yeah, immediately this looks bearish. Ascending wedge, this pattern right here, opposite of the descending wedge. This is bearish. And 90% of the time, I think that's the actual statistic, this pattern breaks downward. Now we're in crypto, so to be clear, things tend to FOMO in directions people aren't expecting. But yeah, this is bearish. So I would say, if you're holding it since down here, since this breakout, you can keep holding it, or you can make this trade, whatever risk you're willing to take. If you haven't entered yet, then your best bet is to buy along this this support, because it clearly acted as a support again right here after it broke out. It came retested. So I think it's likely that we could come back down and retest it. If we don't, though, we could break out of the top and and keep going and go up to this 1618. It's really hard to tell. When coins are making, are in uncharted territory where we haven't seen all-time highs and whatnot, it's really hard to give an estimation. It's hard to give targets. Really, your only tools are your fib retracements and your trend lines that you've drawn. Let's see if we can draw other trend lines that might give us a clue. See, that's not a coincidence right here, right? We have a resistance here. I'm going to get rid of this fib retracement so it's more clear. We have resistance, some kind of resistance here, definitely resistance here, and then it acted as resistance here. So, if we break out past this line, go ahead, that's a breakout buy. That's a good buy if it breaks out past here. Otherwise, I think there's a 10% chance that happens, and there's a 90% chance that we come back down and retest this previous all-time high support. So if you can get a buy around here at 85K sats, that would be solid. If you can't, then you want to buy a breakout of this trend resistance. That's pretty much all this. Yeah, there's not really, doesn't, if you wiggle it, it doesn't give us anything else. And so the fib gave us a target somewhere up here at 11. I know we could, what else can we use here? Normally you just have to use these harmonic patterns. I don't normally use GANs that much, but let's see if we can find a way to make this work. If we draw this from here, it's hard to say. Yeah, GANs are always iffy. Yeah, this is, maybe that, right? Because if we ignore all of these lines, we can see this kind of acted as a resistance, then a support here, maybe resistance here, and we could say that, this is our resistance line right here. Which, as far as breakout, that would mean you're looking to take profit once we hit this half right here. I don't know. Let's see what options again gives us as far as finer detail. No, yeah, we have all of them enabled. We could try looking at a fib speed resistance fan. They're pretty similar. Right, so if we draw the same thing, how we have a rainbow of profit taking. So so you take profits once we hit this diagonal, and maybe once we hit the 618, and then this is the first one on the GAN right here. So yeah, I mean, you have some options, and then if our fib level, let's just redraw the fib retracement from here to our bottom, right? So if this is our fib retracement, unless it goes straight up, it doesn't really give us much of a, they don't really, there isn't a confluence of the fib and the fib speed resistance fan and the actual fib levels here. So in that case, you would be looking to take profit, once we hit here, and then again, the next level would be, once we hit this fan there, and then this would probably act as a support along the way. And if this actually does act as a resistance, then you can draw another fib just between here and here. See, look, that 1618 actually right where I drew it right here. So I mean, this is all very hypothetical, but that's technical analysis. It's all possibilities, and you're just looking for possibilities. You find the one that's the most probable. And that's that. So yeah, there's our mess of a chart for Juan right now. I hope this has all been educational for everyone. Went almost exactly an hour, which is what I was planning. So I guess adding the sixth EOS for all of you EOS fans, EOS plebs, worked out nicely. So yeah, do you guys have any questions before I get off regarding any of this stuff? I'll give you guys a couple minutes to think of something. Um, Meanwhile, we can look at our favorite altcoin. Um, I like looking at the Bitcoin. Oh, this was the chart I posted earlier for Bitcoin, right? So we're making our way to my first target. Broke out nicely as I predicted. So yeah, we're just looking for this and then this. Nothing particularly new. Bitcoin is always extremely not exciting until it's extremely exciting. I think we can all agree about that. But yeah. Alrighty, well, it looks like no one has any questions, so I think that will be that. With that, I will leave you guys to your lives. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you liked it, please follow me on Twitter, subscribe to me on YouTube. I'll try and do more of these in the future. Maybe we could add some general Q&A in here about fundamentals of some stuff, if that's something that you guys would be interested in. But other than that, I will talk to you guys at some point. Yeah, feel free to shoot me a DM, and then Twitter, I try and answer as many of them as I can. I know a bunch of the people watching are in the dojo. You guys know I'm always open to your chart requests, so if you have any more chart requests, just shoot them my way. I will talk to you guys later.